Alright, Sonic. It's finally your time.
Sure looks that way.
So, most characters in this game have a bunch of tools to try winning the neutral to enter the advantage state and keep limiting opponents to further push their lead. However, you're kind of an exception.
You know it!
You're more of a character that looks to get ahead of the opponent percentage-wise. You don't have the strongest boxing tools or any defensive aerials to safely space with. What you do have though is one of the best aggressive aerials in the game, overwhelming speed, and maneuverability.
They don't call me Sonic for nothing!
You force a defensive playstyle because you at the same time force unreactable situations from a crazy amount of distance. The spin dash in itself, when released, is way too fast to be reacted to, unless you can predict it. And if you swing and whiff too carelessly, thinking Sonic was going to commit, you get punished. Your neutral game is based around a bait and punish playstyle, to get as many grabs and pivot grabs as possible by running through or under the opponent. And so you have your crazy fast movement, spin dash, and spin charge to bait forth commitments, like jumps and shields, and fake out your own commitments. You having a percentage lead will also force commitments from the opponent, which can result in whiffs, which can also be punished. And so it requires the opponent to play extremely careful and bait heavy as well, as once they have the percentage lead, it forces you to start committing a bit more.
Ha! Carelessness is your greatest enemy!
Yeah, you're also really annoying with noise that will pierce through my patience.
I'll win at the speed of sound!
Alright, Sonic, just stop talking. Sonic has the fastest run speed in the game, along with the 6th best walk speed, giving him the ability to punish most whiffs from great distance. He also has a really fast turnaround animation, a really fast extended dash dance, and a really fast stopping animation, allowing him to run, stop, and quickly throw out a smash attack or any other option. He does on the other hand have slow airspeed and air mobility, meaning he can have a hard time landing as he has below average fast fall. Spin dash shield cancel, and up air can condition a shield, which can be countered by either a shield grab or pivot grab. Since up air is the only aerial he can apply aggressive, safe pressure with, his neutral becomes mostly limited with these options. This is why it requires to have extremely efficient movement and maneuverability with Sonic, to make him trickier to deal with, as he'll be able to use that maneuverability to observe the opponent's preferred defensive options as well as how they usually try catching him, to begin his conditioning strategy against them in order to open up either his grab game or his spin dash game. If either the spin dash or grab connects, they usually lead into a combo that not only deals decent damage, but also forces them into a disadvantaged state above Sonic as he chases landings better than nearly any character in the game. If Sonic prepares for their defensive options as they land and times it correctly, he can force the opponent to land into another spin dash combo or shield grab into a combo for more damage and resetting the same disadvantaged state multiple times. And so the opponent has to either be very clever with how they mix up their landing or find a ledge.
And I'm just getting started!
Spin dash is the cornerstone of Sonic's moveset, and an essential part to bait the opponent efficiently, coming out earliest on frame 17, and the intangibility starting at frame 1 as soon as you release it till frame 6, basically during the little hop, meaning it's excellent at getting through projectiles as well as punishing over-aggressive close-ranged approaches. The longer you hold the B button, the faster the move will travel when released. During the charge, you can also jump to maneuver around the opponent and avoid projectiles. The move can be shield cancelled at the very start. This can be used whenever you initiate a dash to be able to put up a shield as soon as you started moving, as standard shield dashing requires you to run a bit farther till you can shield. This will also allow you to turn around while shielding. Once you've overcharged it, you won't be able to shield, and instead you are left with 3 options. You can release it, which might be unsafe, press the attack button before releasing it to initiate a vertical spin dash jump, or by pressing jump at the very first frame of releasing the spin dash charge to perform a spin shot. The latter two we'll discuss a bit later. If released, you can also jump just before you start rolling, otherwise you will jump pretty far, unless you actually time a jump at the very first frame that Sonic touches the ground, making Sonic jump slightly instead. This is way easier to get if you spin dash after a double jump, since at that point the jump button can be mashed. When Sonic releases the spin dash, he goes into what is called a spin dash roll. The spin dash roll deals 7% each to the opponent, and he can jump out of it with a spinning hitbox known as a spin dash jump, dealing 3%, which can be cancelled into a spring jump, homing attack, air dodge, attack, or double jump. It is important to constantly mix up how you choose to escape pressure if your spin dash gets blocked, as some characters have ways to punish or chase down Sonic after blocking the move. It's also important to reactively confirm off the fact that the spin dash hit, since if it gets blocked, it's best not to cancel it into an aerial if you jump, as this will slow Sonic's airspeed down, making him an easy target for the opponent to punish. Some mix-ups involve using the spring jump to stop opponents that are too eager to jump out of shield and punish, or to shield poke. Doing it immediately makes it unsafe, as you won't be able to down air and auto-cancel it. Delaying the spring jump slightly, however, so you have a bit of height will allow you to down air and auto-cancel it, making it much safer. Another mix-up is simply rolling through an opponent and rolling back in. Just remember that during the turn, spin dash has no hitbox for a short time, and then you can either hit a shield with a spin dash roll and jump to the left or right while air dodging, attacking, or using a spin dash again. Or you hit the shield with the spin dash hop at the very beginning and immediately jump out, allowing it to do anything. Or you hit the shield and time a jump as soon as you touch the ground for a little mini jump. Mixing up all of these options during the match is key to avoiding substantial punishment.
Okay, let's do this!
There are 4 main ways to combo with spin dash: by hitting with the little hop just before you start rolling, hitting with only the spin dash roll, hitting with the spin dash roll into spin dash jump, and by hitting only with the spin dash jump. All of which launch in slightly different angles, allowing for different combos. Running off stage, spin charging, and spin dashing can be a really good counter against tethers and other specific recoveries. And finally, Sonic can also use this option instead of teching to quickly get on his feet and react. Although the spin charge looks similar, does similar damage and combos, both are used primarily for different purposes depending on the playstyle and matchup. While spin dash is primarily used for defensive play in the neutral for its versatility and invulnerability, the spin charge is more about straightforward aggression and shield pressure, as spin charge can hit 2 up to 5 times depending on the speed, while the spin dash roll can only hit once. Spin charge can be revved up by pressing the B button multiple times. Because of this, you can reach max speed faster than with spin dash, especially since it doesn't have a mini hop in the beginning. If you press jump or attack during the charge, Sonic will spin upwards with a hitbox. Spin charge also has a different arc when released in the air compared to spin dash, and is the preferred option sometimes to return to the stage while still retaining your double jump and up special. The biggest difference between spin charge and spin dash is that the spin charge will always make Sonic stop after hitting a shield multiple times, while spin dash will pass through a shield if even slightly charged. The only way for spin dash to stop is if it's completely uncharged, at which point you can stop in front, behind, or not at all, depending on the distance of where you release the uncharged spin dash. Spin charge, on the other hand, will stop no matter how fast it goes, as long as you hit all of the hitboxes. Hitting the opposite direction as you are pressuring the shield can allow Sonic to keep spinning and pass through opponents. This adds to Sonic's mix-up game even more, as it can be hard to react to if the opponent is anticipating Sonic to jump. Comboing with spin charge is pretty straightforward, as long as you successfully connect with the spin charge jump. Sonic can also footstool the opponent out of a spin dash jump or spin charge jump, and perform a down air so that the spike hitbox connects. On some characters, the down air must be buffered out of a footstool, whereas on others, the down air must be properly timed. On stage, it's better to footstool and spring jump to reset.
Now you're talking!
Or simply footstool to timing a spin charge to make the correct read and keep them in disadvantage. Homing attack is generally used as a risky and rare mix-up to throw opponents off guard from time to time. As Sonic rises in mid-air to lock onto an opponent, he can be punished, since the homing attack becomes active on either frame 22 or frame 34, depending on whether you press it once or twice. It has decent range, but if there's no one nearby to target, Sonic shoots down at a low angle with lag. It also cannot target opponents who are in any sort of intangibility at the time that it attempts to lock onto them, whether it's from a move, air dodge, spot dodge, or even grabbing the ledge. Quick rolls or movement can also cause Sonic to miss, in which case he'll hit the ground and suffer lag. If you shield it, it becomes way harder to punish, as he can drift and decide where to go, as well as the lag is much shorter. This is important to remember, as Sonic can use this move to recover as a last resort when spring jump isn't enough. Homing attack can be used at certain percents to combo off a footstool or a spin dash combo as well.
Take this!
Spring jump provides a vulnerability from frame 5 to 13, making it a really safe recovery, and so you'll mostly want to either ledge trap him, ledge trump him, or 2-frame him, instead of trying to cover his low recovery. The spring spawns at frame 4 and deals 4%, making it an excellent escape option. After escaping, Sonic can only air dodge, use an aerial, wall jump, or footstool. If the spring is shielded or attacked even once, it becomes harmless, making it even easier to catch Sonic's landing and punish the escape. The spring will also be harmless as soon as it's touched the ground. On the ground, it is usually used as a part of a combo or 50-50 setup. The spring can be used by anyone and will restore Sonic's double jump if he lands on it. He can also cover multiple recovery paths and options by placing the spring in certain areas off stage, quickly landing back on stage, then going back off stage to harass the opponent even further, or even stage spike certain recoveries. However, once again, if the spring is hit with an attack or projectile, it is neglected. And finally, the spring can be planted in the middle of the stage after a stock, potentially have an opponent press themselves down on it and bounce during invincibility, immediately putting them in an awkward position. The most important thing to keep in mind is that Sonic cannot double jump out of a spin dash that originated from an aerial spin dash, if you choose to spin jump, even if it clearly touched the ground. Same thing for aerial spin charge, it won't let Sonic double jump. Spin shot is one of Sonic's most useful techniques, allowing him to recover really far, play around projectiles, as well as escape his opponent. It can be done with a grounded and aerial spin dash, which will spend Sonic's double jump. And it can also be done with an aerial spin charge, which also spends his double jump. The input is pretty simple. Assuming that the C-stick is set to attack, all you have to do is release the spin dash charge and input the C-stick in any direction at the first frame of releasing the spin dash. And if you barely jump, you flicked it too late. This is way easier to pull off while spin charging, as you can C-stick in any direction whenever you want during the charge. Spin dash can also be C-bounced, which can be done easier if you set a shoulder button to special and the C-stick to attack. Then all you gotta do is run, press the shoulder button set to special, and within 2 frames tilt the C-stick to the opposite direction. Sonic can also instant spin dash jump, which is the act of skipping the initial charge and hop frames of spin dash. The input is simple, however it needs to be frame perfect. You'll need to press attack at the 7th frame of releasing the spin dash. If you press it too early, Sonic will just simply spin dash, and if you press it too late, he'll do a vertical spin dash jump. And once again, this is way easier to pull off while spin charging at the ground, as you can C-stick in any direction whenever you want during the charge. This is mainly used for punishing full hops and for going off stage while still retaining a hitbox and your double jump. Since spin dash in itself can be turned around and be reversed, it can be applied to the instant spin dash jump. Turnaround instant spin dash jump is done by running, pressing spin dash the other direction, releasing and pressing attack to go off stage with your back turned for back airs. B-reverse instant spin dash jump is done by running, pressing spin dash forward and then immediately B-reversing it to the opposite direction, releasing it and pressing attack on the 7th frame to launch yourself the other direction. You can fall straight down with spin dash or spin charge with a lingering hitbox while retaining your double jump, unless you've already used your double jump to initiate a spin. This can be done by starting a spin high above an edge of a platform or stage. And as you release the spin charge, you need to hold in till you're about to touch the ground and release the analog stick just as you do. This is obviously only meant for edgeguarding opponents straight below you. Spin dash shield cancel can also allow Sonic to shield drop on platforms. This is done by spin charging, holding the analog stick down and then pressing shield with good timing just as you start holding it down. And so this can be combined with a C bounce for some interesting movement.
I think I can handle that!
Sonic's jab is quick and is mostly used as a mix-up to mainly get the opponent off. The full jab will only provide a very small advantage where Sonic might be able to potentially follow up through a read. It's his primary option to reset the opponent if they miss a tech. Down tilt is a great poking tool and has a chance of tripping the opponent. It's just as quick as forward tilt, however it's a bit safer on shield. At low to mid percentage, it doesn't really allow much of an advantage unless you trip. However, at higher percentage, it'll force a tech situation. It can also potentially punish 2 frames. Forward tilt is Sonic's primary tool to get someone off of him while also lowering his hurt box. It's relatively unsafe against shield, but is a decent option to punish cross-up pressure. It can be very effective as a ledge trapping tool against characters with low range. Other than that, it can be used in combination with a pivot to try walling out an opponent's approach. Up tilt is mostly used to pressure opponents above you on a platform, usually in mixture with up airs. It's extremely punishable if used against shield or grounded opponents, as it has short horizontal range. It can, however, potentially beat ledge jump and short-ranged aerial approaches, and can combo into an aerial at mid percentage. Sonic's dash attack is a quick burst option to catch landings, punish whiffs, and laggy moves. It's unsafe against shield. However, if it connects, it'll at least give Sonic some kind of stage control to chase landings. It starts killing at really high percentage. Forward smash has good power, range, and can be safe on shield if slightly charged. It can actually be used during the neutral as a surprise option to try and score an early kill. Or if angled downwards, it becomes one of the best options in the game to punish a 2-frame, making it one of Sonic's main ways of killing, as he already struggles to find a kill. Mastering the timing is extremely important as whiffing it can get you punished. Down smash is also basically only used against 2 frames and re-grabs. It can also be used as an out-of-shield option to quickly try punishing opponents behind you. Up smash has intangibility at frame 18 to 20, making it a risky option against a few landings, short hops, regular get up, or ledge jump. It's very punishable on block, however. Up smash will also shield poke some tall characters at almost full shield, if the last hit of the up smash is spaced at the very middle of the shield, and against half shield on others. Back air is his strongest aerial. It has a sweet spot and a sour spot, making it perfect for offstage pressure and stage spiking, as the hitbox lingers for quite a while. You can short hop, buffer the back air, and delay the fast fall to auto cancel. If you fast fall too early, you will have a ton of landing lag. You can also choose to not fast fall at all and double jump before landing. This should be used as a mix-up to directly punish short hops or even full hops to condition the opponent into staying a bit more grounded. It can also be used to cross up shields. Landing and spacing with back air against shield is never safe. Neutral air is his second strongest aerial if you land with the early part of the move. It has 3 hitboxes that reduce in knockback: the early strong hit, the weak hit, and an even weaker late hit, all of which combo into a bunch of stuff. Other than that, neutral air can be used as a very situational out-of-shield option, as it's not very safe in neutral.
Ha! I'd like to hear you say that after I knock your socks off!
Forward air can also be used as a quick punish against short hops, or as a very rare comeback to stage, as it's actually very unsafe on shield and can easily be SDI'd out of, and so it's mostly used as a situational combo move. Down air has a spike hitbox from frame 19 to 22. If the opponent DIs in during a 50-50 situation and you predict an air dodge, you can try using down air to either spike or send them flying. However, the opponent should always be DIing away to completely avoid this setup. Up air is an incredible aerial, being one of the best options out of shield to punish cross-ups. You can short hop, buffer the up air, and immediately fast fall to auto-cancel the move to counter grounded opponents, short hops, and landings, while also comboing like crazy. The up air will auto-cancel as soon as the hitbox ends, meaning you can space it even better by short hopping, up airing at the peak of the jump, and then fast falling to hit with the last hitting hitbox just before landing against a shield, in which case it cannot be grabbed, as Sonic will always be able to jab, down tilt, forward tilt, spot dodge, roll away, or just run away from a grab. In fact, the biggest reason why up air is so amazing is because if you land it perfectly against shield and buffer a grab, Sonic will beat out all options that are slower than frame 6. This is all assuming Sonic doesn't cross up with the move, as it's very easy to cross up with. Against a character like Donkey Kong, Link, or Mewtwo, having slow out of shield options, they are forced to roll or spot dodge. And even if the opponent has an incredibly fast out of shield option or a frame 6 grab, Sonic can just roll away from the situation and try whiff punishing. Since it has such aggressive potential, it's usually best to try stuffing it out before Sonic gets close, meaning Sonic can start conditioning preemptive commitments and whiffs. Even more importantly, this can be done from a full hop, air dodge, up air, fast fall, if the up air is slightly delayed while holding the analog stick down for an automatic fast fall, after a full hop buffered forward air into up air, or after a spin dash mini hop. And of course, the reward from hitting this kind of perfectly landed up air will allow for Sonic to combo into anything as well as kill confirm.
Hey, now it's getting interesting!
Because of Sonic's speed, he has the option of laying off from the ledge a little bit farther than most, allowing him to discourage aggressive ledge options, as it'll usually lead to an easy whiff punish. This also allows Sonic to react to rolls and read ledge jump options with back air or up smash. He could also use forward tilt or grab to counter regular get up or get up attack. If dash attack is timed properly or with enough rage, you can make the final hit whiff, which sends opponents at a really awkward low angle. Another effective way to ledge trap is to position yourself at the very edge facing the stage, in which case you will easily counter regular get up and get up attack with grab, while also being able to react to roll. Ledge jump needs to be preemptively covered with a back air, neutral air, or up smash out of shield, unless you want to catch a landing. This position allows Sonic to punish double jump cross-ups effectively, as he can immediately try punishing with up air or react to an air dodge before the actual cross-up happens. The only difficult thing to counter are aerials that are immediately safe and don't cross up. Instead of shielding, you've also got spin dash charge to counter regular get up, and roll, that if timed correctly can combo into a back air. Mixing up the timing of each ledge option as you are hanging at the ledge against Sonic is really important, as the only strong option Sonic has against the ledge stall is a heavily committal pivot forward smash or down smash, which might not even hit all characters. A much weaker but safer commitment is perfect pivot down tilt. And finally, he can also of course ledge trump to back air as a mix-up.
I got it!
Sonic has a really good grab game as they deal decent damage and can set up opponents for more grabs as they try to land. Up throw is Sonic's main combo throw. At early percents, you want to go for a back air, as it deals the most amount of damage and sets up Sonic to chase landings with spin dash or grab to juggle them further. It's really important here for the receiver to not panic and immediately waste their defensive options, and instead always try to cleverly time something last second to push Sonic out or maneuver around him.
Yeah, go ahead, try and stop me!
Against lightweights and floaties, however, you're better off going for up air or neutral air, as they will mostly be too high up to combo with back air properly. If they are close enough and try attacking you, you can neutral air. If they air dodge, you'll either frame trap or delay the neutral air slightly and land with it. If you predict a double jump, you can always double jump after or catch a landing. After around 30% till approximately 60%, Sonic doesn't usually have any true combos, as he can try connecting neutral air, however it can be air dodged, which of course can also be punished. And against floaty characters, it's around 20 to 40% where there's no true combos. Between 60 and 90% it begins to true combo again because of a spring jump into an aerial depending on DI. At really high percents, up throw will lead into a 50-50 no matter the DI. However, if the opponent DI is away from Sonic, you'll need to reverse the spring to be able to threaten with back air. This 50-50 is not necessarily deadly, unless you are at the corner of the stage or a fast faller. If Sonic has Rage, he might kill you immediately off this setup, and if done off a platform, it can kill confirm as well. At really high percents, it can kill on its own if it's fresh, the optimal DI being towards Sonic. To mix you up, he can forward throw to kill even earlier, at which point the optimal DI is down and away. Back throw is one of Sonic's main ways of killing, and his strongest kill throw if it's close to the edge, the optimal DI being towards Sonic and slightly upwards. Down throw is used to set up a tech situation and launching opponents at a low angle at the edge of a stage. If the opponent doesn't tech, Sonic can usually always read and punish the opponent. However, if you DI down and tech in place or tech away and shield, Sonic will never have any follow-ups whatsoever. The only thing Sonic can punish is a tech towards him, or a downwards DI'd tech in place at extremely low percentage, at which point no DI to tech in place or tech away is still unpunishable. Playing against Sonic is a battle of attrition. Even though he's really fast, spin dash and dash in will usually lose to long-lasting hitboxes and disjoints. The hitbox in spin dash is much smaller than the hurtbox, which means that technically it can be clashed with or outright beaten in any head-to-head encounter. It can even be grabbed if you're ready for it. Good projectile use to add small damage and limit Sonic's maneuverability is something Sonic also struggles against. Playing a game of bait and punish comes down to 3 things. The first is patience. Second is timing, and third is realizing what Sonic wants to bait out, as Sonic's goal in general is to bait something out from the opponent first and then commit to a punish. And so partially baiting and punishing is also about making yourself look vulnerable for what Sonic wants to bait out, and swing the very last moment that Sonic commits to a punish. Holding the middle stage can allow you to catch Sonic much easier once he passes through you, or punish him for going above you once the spin dash is shielded, as shielding a spin dash at the edge makes it almost impossible to catch Sonic. If you do find yourself cornered and Sonic spin dashes through you, he'll be off stage with very limited ways to get back. If he tries spin dashing in again, it needs to be punished rather than respected and shielded. Sonic's biggest weakness, however, is being right above you, either after you've launched him or after he uses spring jump, as he doesn't really have a way of dealing with hitboxes right under him, and has to now find a way back to stage with really slow air mobility. Something that can really help is knowing how to SDI his spin dash. By smash DIing down and away, either towards him or away from him, you can pop out of the spin dash combo, take minimal damage, and also immediately reset neutral. Depending on your character and reaction speed, you might even get a punish on Sonic as soon as you SDI out.
I guess this isn't gonna be as easy as I thought!
If you want to decide what character should be next in the series, make sure to check out the link below to vote. On a more serious note, I'm also currently in need of some help right now, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help me out by supporting me on Patreon, as YouTube at the moment is barely doing it for me. Even if it's $1, it helps more than you think. Thank you. Credit goes to 6WX, RacerX, Hedgeon, Aperture, Ixes, Age, Camelang, Supergirl Kills, Wrath, and Sonics.